Oh, what happened? Well, this is what happened. I was, the other day when I reviewed the laptop stand for this, didn't damage the laptop at all. I just haven't used it since months ago. I don't know how old this thing is, but the BIOS had lost its time and date and reverted back to 2007. So I figured the CMOS battery was dead. So I went through underneath and looked everywhere for the CMOS battery, and it was not anywhere to be found. So I said, great, it's on board, it's probably proprietary and I'm not going to fix it. So I went and I disassembled the whole thing, and I got as far as taking the top cover up, and it kind of got stuck here, and I'm not exactly sure why or what's holding it, but I don't want to stress anything, because if this laptop is from 2007 or 2008, these plastics have certainly lost their plasticizers, and they are not as flexible as they once were. So I'm looking here, and then I see the CMOS battery. You see it? That white thing with the round thing in it? And then I realized they put a flap right here so you can get to it. So I didn't need to take the whole thing apart. I certainly didn't need to remove these screws, but I did, or these cables, but I did have to take the keyboard out. Probably didn't even need to disconnect it. So a little further disassembly than was required, and I didn't need to remove the wireless antenna wires or the LVDS cable. But this battery is in here, and it is a 2032. It's just got the most interesting markings going in a circular fashion like that I've ever seen. So we have to change that. Let me set the camera up on a tripod, and I'll see what kind of angle I can get for you. And we'll check out the CMOS battery and replace it, and then you can watch me reassemble it. I didn't show the disassembly because I did this at like 6 o'clock in the morning. Yes, really, I sometimes do that, work on stuff really early in the morning, and some of my best work actually gets done then. But it should go back together no problem, so let me get set up on a tripod and we'll check everything out. Yeah, it's not actually too bad. So anyway, we're going to pick this up, and I know my hand is going to be in the way somewhat, but that's just fact of the matter. There's a little slot in here, and you just pry under it, and we can get the battery out. Now you can do the lick test on it. There's nothing there, but I'll get the voltmeter out and we'll test it anyway. Okay, we're on the DC 20 volt scale, and when we hook that up we get 0.04. I don't know if you can read that, but 0.04. So yeah, I think this battery's dead. I'm hoping that something else in the laptop didn't kill it, because if that's what happened, then it's a motherboard issue, and that's nothing I'll be able to fix. So now I'm going to go into the archives and find a suitable replacement 2032. So here's the replacement, which reads 3.27. Not bad. That's probably one of the better batteries that I have. I'm sure one with lower voltage will do, as I gather this is the original battery from back in the day, and that being the case, if it was holding the settings all that time without any, almost any voltage, you know, so that just snaps down in there, and that's that. So now we'll just sort of mush the case back together a bit. And now I have to remember from what I did this morning, I have a separate pile of screws here you might be able to see, or maybe not, but those were from the top cover. And I know there were 2 here. And now another 3. Okay, now we have to get the cables going where they need to. So So we'll just kind of work these back down in where I think they went. They kind of have almost like muscle memory, if you will, where the wires kind of stay as they were. So there's that. This LVDS connector is a press-on type connector, so you just line it up and snap it down. This one is for the mousey. Stick that in and close its lever. This one is for the AC condensate drain. That's for the pad here with the multimedia buttons that nobody fucking uses. And then the wireless wire will go back in here and around its cable guides and go through the hole. Of course, one of them doesn't want to play nice. There it is. So now we'll put the Kapton tape back down. I think that's Kapton tape. I know the kind of orangey stuff is for sure, but we put that in. It's on the other side. Everything here is good. And now we can close the lid, flip it over, and put the wireless wires back on. There's a white and a black wire here. On this particular Gateway, I made myself a little mnemonic device, even though it's actually more like a gray wire. I said white is on the right, so it rhymes. These connectors suck, and they've been superseded by even smaller connectors, which are even more of a pain in the ass. I can't see to do this shit anymore without glasses, so I kind of just do it by feel. And you got to be careful not to A, rip the connector off the board when you take them off, and B, mash the little, I think it's more like a coaxial connector, mash that down so bad that you misshape it. But anyway, those are back reconnected. There's nothing else here that was messed with, so we have to put the keyboard back, and we'll put the bezel back. So we'll flip it back over, and then I will do that. So we'll open this up all the way, or as all the way as it wants to go for now. And the keyboard has a really fucking short cable to make this really a joy to put back together. Oh yeah, this is going to be plenty great. There it is. Clip that in place. Mush the wireless down a little better in its cable guide. Everything else is good. All other cables are reconnected. Reinstall the keyboard. Push down on the sides to make sure, and get the bezel. Now I have to move this to get it open all the way, and this is going to sort of clip in like that, and then mush in. It just sort of mushes back in. This is being a little bit of a pain in this corner for whatever reason. There it is. So I'm just going to mush. That is not wanting to seat properly for some reason. Let me see if I can close it to see. There's a clip there. Now it's in. Okay. So now, just to show, the bezel is back in. As you can see, that's all seated down, and any various creaks and stuff will be ironed out when we get all the screws back in. So now we'll do the optical drive to get that out of the way. There are 2 screws for it that hold the top cover, top case assembly on. So we'll put those back. And the optical drive itself will go in. Standard case screw secures that right through here. That's good. And we got to do these 4 screws back here. And this particular one has screws here. Well, this isn't the greatest angle to be doing this at, but I'm trying to show you what I can. Nope, I guess I'll have to just put it this way and hold it and try that. Wow, these are really being tough. This is terrible. Okay, that's in. I'm going to put the hard drive back in. That slips in there. It's got 2 of its own screws. Wireless card cover has a captive screw. And I'll be putting the cover over here over the rest of this last. I want to get the case screws in. All looks good to me. So before I put the bottom case on, I want to power this up for you. And it should have lost all of its settings because, of course, the battery was dead and disconnected and there was no power applied to the system. So let me get this set up and I'll show you. Okay, here we go. First test since partial disassembly and reassembly. Cables in. No lights here so far, which I think is okay. Oh, duh, you got to put on the power. That'll help. Still no lights here, but there's no battery installed, so I wouldn't expect one. Aha! A blue light, an extended delay, which is what it was doing, and we have post, and eventually it will complain that it has lost its memory. Indeed. Check date and time settings. F2. Ooh, the keyboard even works. So the time is 16:38. I don't worry about the seconds. And it is now 9/1/2018. And there was one other setting that I changed. in here, quiet boot disabled, save changes and exit. It counts its RAM, which is something I've actually never seen it do when the battery's good, so I guess it's actually doing a real RAM test there. Configuration data updated, and there it goes. So we'll let that boot up now. Oh, it's welcoming. It's not really a great angle. This screen, of course, is reflective, so you see everything but the screen itself, such as the glare from the fluorescent light, which you see there, the white stripe. And it is welcoming, and it is loading, and everything is probably going to be just fine once it comes up, at which point I will shut it down, change the battery on the camera, and reinstall that cover, and then we'll test it one more time to ensure that it has remembered, and we'll go from there. Okay, it's shut down properly. We'll pull the power out. Everything is nice back together. And these are a pain because they have little tabs and all kinds of, and it's a big cover, and it's just a pain in the dick to sort of mush this back in place, but that's how they made them. This is one of those good old American iron machines that's been around the block a few billion times and keeps working. And this is the laptop I take with me when I travel, which is exceedingly rare, but it gets the job done. It lets me do what I need to do. It's a bit slow at times, but otherwise does the job, and I can do some light video editing on the road should I need to. This is, I think, the second best laptop I actually have. So there's that. And we'll put that, lock that. It's clipped in, so we're good. I'll turn it this way to unwrap one more skein of the wire. Plug it in, open it, and if you can see a purple light, which indicates the battery is charging, and it has remembered everything. So I'll see if I could hit F8 so we don't have to boot it again, and we can just power it down right here. And that concludes replacing the CMOS battery on this old Gateway laptop, which was a model ML6720. I've had a video of this before, but it just recently had this CMOS issue, so I figured I'd take care of that because it otherwise is a perfectly working laptop. I had no idea what I was getting into when I opened this. It could have been a proprietary cell or a non-standard one. Could have been anything. Fortunately, in Gateway's foresight, and I know they didn't have much, they used the standard 2032, so it was very easy to change. Not a big deal. And they made it even a lot easier by putting that flap there that I completely overlooked. I thought it was like glued down and wasn't going to peel it off, but it turns out I could have done it just by removing the keyboard. So we could have saved, well, practically this whole video. But it's fixed now, and it works, and it will continue to live in its laptop bag until I need to travel again. So thank you for watching. Make sure you click like, make sure you click subscribe, and take care. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.